Not gonna comment on that one.
But what up, y'all? Y'all know what's going on, man. Y'all can tell by the title and thumbnail today that this whole video is related to the compound boost Redeye. You know what I'm saying? This demonstration, we done set the record with it as far as on the Redeye charges, and it's pretty beastie. And you know, Boss Man been getting a lot of questions as far as you know, what's to the combination, what's the pros, what's the cons, you know, is it worth doing and everything like that. So that's what we here to do for y'all today. Today we gonna go for a ride around, get y'all a couple pulls, you know, y'all can hear how the car sounds. You know, I'm gonna get an outside video as well for y'all too, you know, walk around so y'all can see how tame and mellow it is, and then just cruising video. We get some wide open throttle pulls, and tell them it's gonna be informative too, man.
Yeah, that's the plan. You know, like Cooley was saying, I get messages all the time about what's the point. They see that, you know, blower only cars do the same type of power. So, you know, I figured this would just be very educational. I know it's one of those subjects that is really not talked about a lot, so there's not a lot that's known about it. So we've built in-house compound boost kits several years ago. And then we went ahead and teamed up with Hellion on this one for my Redeye, just to show the different variables of what you have out there and what's possible with them. So yeah, we figure, you know, mine as well, you know, let you guys hear what it sounds like. It's a big question I get all the time, and just kind of talk as we drive, and you know, kind of just get a better idea of what is the point of it, where the benefits are from it, and kind of go from there.
All right, y'all, it's rock and roll time.
Ready to low? You buckled in?
Yes, sir.
All right, good.
Safety belt on. In the baby seat.
Yeah, I got my little.
I ain't gonna sit here and lie though. The sound of this thing be sounding so crazy. Like yesterday when you pulled off, like just a little cruise.
I could hear you behind me. I could hear you behind me.
It's nuts.
Yeah. So yeah, a little bit on this kit. So I did the twin 6466 setup. I'm not going for any type of records or anything. I just wanted something real streetable, quick spool. Because even though there's a blower in place, there is lag still. So wanted to set it up so there was minimal of that.
Sheesh. Oh my God, dude.
That noise.
So
that pull.
The other addition that I put on was the Screamer upgrade. So it's something they offer for the smaller turbos. So I figured, why the heck not? Let's see what it sounds like. So the way the car is set up now, it has our clutched 3-1 upper pulley on it, stock lower. I have ID 1700s in it, and a dual booster pump. That's pretty much it on top of the turbo kit. Stock catback exhaust, and that's pretty much what the car is set up. So we finished installing the kit the morning of our last track rental. So I literally had it on the dyno 2 times the day before. Just to check things out, we had a couple little things we had to address with the kit, and then finished it the morning of the track day. So got it to the track and literally ran a 9.4 with the only testing and tuning being at the track itself. So we suffered from some crappy track prep that day. So you know, I had to pull power out on the 60 foot. Still cut a 1.3, which is one of the biggest things that leads us into
crazy. Oh my God, y'all can't tell, not to cut you off, bros. Y'all cannot tell me in the comment section that this thing don't sound mean. Like, this is not no fake reaction or nothing. Like, bro, when you start getting in it, those turbos start.
Those screamers were worth it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so one of the most common questions that I get is, you know, what is the benefit of a compound setup? Why not just take the blower off? And the truer answer to it is you get the best of both worlds. So the way it's pulleyed, my car will see about 15-16 pounds of boost if the turbos weren't there. So you know, on the hit, when I'm smacking it at the track, I get that instant boost. You know, and that's why I was able to cut a 1.360 foot. No foot braking, just off idle, slamming the gas pedal, did a 1.360 foot full weight. 4,600 pounds with me in it, probably closer to 49, especially since we added turbos and some piping. So that is one of the biggest benefits. So I get the hit of the blower, and then the turbos on the big end. And I can tell you, I've been in a lot of cars and everything, and there's just something about getting that hit and then hearing the blower at first and then the turbos taking over. The pull is just unlike anything else. So
I can vouch for that. I done rode in this thing.
Yeah. So right now, I'm on my base boost setting, which is about 18-19 pounds of boost. So I don't have it turned up. I'm on my street tires right now, so if I turn it up to what I had at the track, these tires are useless. So, but I know Cooley, we wrote down a couple questions.
Yeah.
So if you want to kind of go through those, and I'll answer as I drive, so you guys can hear what it does and see the characteristics at the same time.
All right. So one of the main questions that we were seeing that they wanted to know the answer to was, is the blower a restriction with the turbos?
Sure. So what it actually is happening is these turbos are feeding more air into the blower. So the best way that I can explain it to anybody is that what we're doing is just allowing the blower to compress more air. So there is a point where the blower will be a restriction, right? But just to break it down, like I mentioned when we started driving, my blower is pulled to make 15-16 pounds. On my highest boost setting, I see 25-26 pounds. So the turbos are only making 5 to 6 pounds to produce that type of boost.
The overall end boost.
Right. So if you do a little math, 15-16 pounds plus 5 pounds doesn't equal 25. That's why it's called compound. Because essentially the air the turbos are making, which is increased pressure over barometric pressure, gets compressed and is compounded. So that's why you get the results that you do. So that's one of the benefits in regards to that. So yes, there is a point where the blower becomes a restriction, but when you spec these things correctly, we're not at that point yet, just like the turbos aren't a restriction either. So that's the whole point of turbo choice and power goals.
Okay. Well, they also wanted to know. God damn, man. That don't get old, bro.
No.
Oh my God. Dude. I gotta act bad soon,
It
y'all.
just went.
I gotta act bad soon, y'all. This thing, wait till y'all hear the outside clips of how this thing pull. You know what I'm saying? This thing is a monster. And no cap, the boot is instant. Like, it's over instant. Like, it's no lag. Like, I don't feel the lag personally. And this is for me being in the passenger seat, I don't feel no lag. But Jay, another question that a lot of people were asking was, and it kind of seemed like the question is kind of in a similar type of question in a way, but it was worded a little different. So, you know, they want to know the answer to this. Is the blower considered a bottleneck? Right.
So you're right. It kind of piggybacks off of the first question. Is it a bottleneck? So what that in relation to and what people are trying to get out of that is the blower essentially holding back the turbo? So in a sense, the answer is yes, it is. Because if I were to take this blower off, example, we have one of our employees has a turbo setup with the blower removed. Same exact turbos. He made 1,090 to the wheels at 20 pounds of boost, where I made 1,020 at 24 pounds of boost. So, and the reason for that, again, is that the overall boost number is coming from what the blower is making and what the turbo is making. So, but we're using the benefits of both. So the downside to my employee's car, Joe, is he has turbo lag.
Right.
So when he smacks the gas, we took it to the track, it takes a split second or two to actually start to build the boost, where I have the assistance of the blower. So right. This is not a setup to get you to that overall peak horsepower number. What this setup does is it gives you the best of both worlds. So I get the low and the mid-range power with the pull of the turbos on the back end. And that's truly where, like I said, what this is geared for. So the true answer is yes, I could make more power if I were to remove the blower, but then I lose the advantages of what the blower provides.
Right,
so,
right.
That's where this isn't for everybody, but you know, like I said, I go to the track, cut 1 360 foots and trap over 145 miles an hour full weight without an issue, and then I can drive home at low boost if I want. I can turn the controller down more and make 17 pounds if I want. You know what I'm saying, and have that flexibility.
Okay. Well, yeah, this one was one of the biggest questions that everybody was asking. You know, I saw this a lot based on the dyno numbers that we had posted, based on the ET that we had ran and everything. People want to know why would they choose to go with this compound boost setup versus aggressive upper and lower pulley, like, you know, our 900 package, right, you know, for like the Redeyes, or 1,000 horsepower package for like the Redeyes, instead of going that route? What makes this, you know, beneficial?
That's a great question, and it is probably the one we're asked all the time, because like I said, this type of setup is not going to be the end-all power maker, right? You will make more power with straight turbos in regards to peak numbers, but the benefits are, I kind of briefly mentioned it earlier, I have flexibility. So I have a boost controller here that I can set up to 6 different settings in it and change the boost by the push of a button. If I go to the racetrack and it's a little bit hotter out, naturally on a blower car, boost drops. Well, with the turbos and a boost controller, I can make a couple adjustments and I can get that boost back in that hot weather. A blower car, you're not going to be able to do that. The other benefit is I'm not overspinning the blower. So the added stress that we put on these blowers when we put a 10 lower, 275 upper, or some guys are running in the 2.6s, I mean, we've seen what happens when you spin these blowers way too much.
Right.
I'm spinning it just at, the only reason that I don't have a stock pulley on is because we were testing our pulleys on this car before. So I'm barely spinning this above stock.
Right.
So if you want to put some really good fuel in it and really kind of push something, I'm able to make the boost that a, you know, upper, lower pulleyed car makes that was ported even,
right,
but still take it to the RPM that I want to take to without worry.
Right.
My bearings aren't going to fail, my rotors aren't going to smack each other. I have none of that as a concern because the blower's spinning the exact same as it was before. So an added benefit of that as well is we always talk about friction and heat, right? Mm-hmm. So my intake temps don't change very much over what a stock pulleyed car makes, where as a lot of people know, when you throw those pulleys on there and you increase that friction, temperatures rise naturally with it. So right, the benefits of the Redeyes, we have the chiller from the factory on it, so I can help reduce whatever is there. But that's why you know, one of the downsides, a lot of the guys with the upper and the lower, they have, you know, really are focused on cooling at the track and minimal passes, because the amount of friction that's made, it really just cooks everything. So right, my blower is spinning almost out of stock, but I'm making the same boost as a ported upper and lower setup. Similar to the people that have port blowers, they want to get more power without stressing something.
Right.
And that's what this setup does. So not only am I able to change my boost at free will, but I'm not stressing the components out nearly as much.
Right, right. Okay, so technically it still will make the same power. It's just a lot more efficient and a lot easier on parts. Yeah,
so that's the other thing too, is you see, you know, everybody when they see, you know, just a straight turbo build, they see that the horsepower number from it. Realistically, a compound boosted setup is going to make very similar, most likely a little bit more, but very much the same as a pulleyed blower setup, because the blower is still there. So one of the cons is that the parasitic drain or loss of the blower is still in place.
Okay.
So that's why, like I said, comparing Joe's to mine, he made an extra 70 horsepower with 4 less pounds of boost because he doesn't have a blower in the way.
Okay.
So that's where, when comparing it, you can't really put it into the dyno graph comparison of a turbo only car.
Right.
It's going to fall under the blower car, right? So you can compare it to, you know, a stock blower, pulleyed car, ported blower, aftermarket blower, whatever the case may be, because the blower is still in place. Right. So yeah, I would say put a dyno sheet up next to a, you know, 24 psi pulleyed Redeye blower, and then put my dyno sheet next to it. That's where you're going to get the comparison and a better understanding of what type of power this thing will make. And like I said, it takes a little bit of both because we don't sacrifice the low or the mid-range.
Right.
But we do get a little bit more of a kick on the big end. So it made 1,090 foot-pounds of torque with 10-20 wheel horsepower at 24 pounds of boost. So again, if you put a dyno sheet next to a pulleyed setup like that, it's going to be very close in power. But if I wanted to go to 26, 27, 28 or down, I can do that by the push of the button right there. You can't do that with a pulleyed car. You're going to have to swap. We make our clutch pulleys where you can swap the upper ring and everything like that, but you still are very limited on overall output.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's mainly it.
So another question that I see a lot of people, because people are always chasing high horsepower numbers, but don't really get the gist of everything or how it goes. So pretty much people want to know, what is the limit on the stock motor then? Yeah. On the Redeye, like how far can you push it before needing to get a built motor?
Right.
And if you were to get a built motor, how far could you push it with the built motor as well,
Absolutely. So we get asked that every single day, and it's a very loaded question, because if we throw an actual horsepower number out there, we're going to be held to it, right? So we've seen plenty of Redeyes out there by the guys and everything like that where they are making 1,000 wheel horsepower and beating the snot out of it, right? It's one of those things, as I tell anybody, the higher you increase the horsepower, the higher the risk. It's just naturally the way it goes. So I set mine up to where I'm pretty comfortable that she will last a good while. Maintenance is key and everything like that, but generally, even pulleyed cars, if we look at, when we do our 1,000 horsepower package on cars, it's going to take you right to that 4-digit number. There's other things in the car you have to address when it gets to that point. Now, the back end of that question is, how far can you push it? This is another area where this excels as well. I'm nowhere near tapped out with this setup. So if I were to forge the motor, we could make 28, 29, 30 pounds of boost with no problem, and still keep the stock blower in place.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then, again, because of the way it's pulleyed, I could rev this thing to 7,000 RPM with a built motor and the turbos in place and probably make 1,400 wheel horsepower.
Being that you're not spinning the blower crazy from an upper and lower.
Correct, exactly. So yeah, once you address the cylinder pressure and reinforcing the bottom end, we have seen time and time again that these Redeye motors can really take some good RPM as long as the blower's not being overspun. You throw some turbos in place and you're able to use that RPM with a bottom end that can take it. Yeah, there's no reason you can't make 1,300, 1,400. It's going to be limited on the turbo choice at that point. So
right, okay.
The 6.4s the 6.4, 6.6s that I chose are rated to 900 a piece or 1,800 horsepower at the flywheel. So yeah, there's we use them a lot in our builds too. No reason this thing couldn't spit out 1,300, 1,400, no problem. Hellion offers 72 mil upgrades as well for the really, really big horsepower guys. But again, you base it on the application. You don't just put the biggest thing in place. You got to make sure that you spec it correctly.
All right, this one is a question that definitely is like more, not a question, but more of a scenario of how it happens with how customers call in. God damn, y'all. The turbo sound just make my brain lose train of thought. I'm not gonna lie.
It almost sounds like a diesel.
It's crazy. And that wasn't what, that was literally just you know what I'm saying? It's when it hit, it's crazy. It's just, y'all gonna see in the video because we got an outside camera on here for y'all can hear that. But this is like more of a scenario type thing, you know what I'm saying? With all this information being told, who is this setup ideal for? What customer would you say this is ideal for? Like, based on the type of driving that they will do and everything, what makes this combination ideal for them? What would make somebody come in like, hey Jeremy, I want to compound boost my vehicle?
Yeah, anybody looking for extreme flexibility. Like I said, it's the ability where I can change boost on the fly. As I grow with the car, you set it up and these turbos will grow with the car. So I see it time and time again where people do upper lower pulleys, port the blower, then they forge the bottom end, and then they go to an aftermarket blower. You literally can buy this in stock form, and as you continue to upgrade, everything is in place to be able to do that with you. even with a non-Redeye, if you have, you know, the 2.4, you leave that sucker pulley down, you can rev that thing pretty high once you reinforce the bottom end, so you can make some crazy power without ever having to touch the blower.
Right.
And you know, we have a customer coming in that even went to an aftermarket blower, and he's yanking it off, and he's going to be doing a custom intake with the intercooler in it and really turn it up. You know, so it's an extremely flexible kit that allows for growth. So I know when you initially look at the price tag and you see what it costs to install and everything like that, it might be slightly intimidating. But the reality of the fact is that it is extremely flexible. And then anybody can contest that once you get really into these things and you continue to go down that rabbit hole of a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, the fact is that the thing limiting me here is not the power adders I have in place. It literally is everything else around it. It's very hard to find a power adder that you can say that with.
Right.
So, you know, if I want 16, 17 pounds or I want 30 pounds, I have a setup in place that can produce all of that as long as I have the supporting mods to do it with it.
And can adjust it on the fly.
Yeah, just push of a button on the controller. You can get a remote button where you can go up and down with it. I mean, you know, it's one of those things, you go to the track, you do a hit, and you're like, I'm down 2 pounds of boost because, you know, their charge temps are 130 degrees and the ambient's 100. All right, you go to your boost controller, you make a small adjustment, and you just gain that boost back.
Right.
So it helps with the consistency at the track. You know what I mean? I've seen time and time again where guys go to the track on a hot day and they're pulley down and their times are slower because they just can't produce the same boost they did in the hot weather that they do in the cold weather. Turbos in general have that flexibility behind them. So, like I said, flexibility is key. It allows for growth and overall adjustments while you have it.
So this video was real knowledgeable for you guys and everything, and I know we've talked about a lot of the benefits, we've answered a lot of questions, and we've heard a lot of good. What's the bad?
Yeah, got to talk about the bad.
It's got to be good and bad with
exactly.
everything.
We got to
so
be honest.
Where's
everybody.
the bad?
So the bad with you know, a compound setup like we talked about is there's the blowers in the place with the parasitic draw, right? So initial numbers don't always look to be the highest when you compare it to just turbos only.
Right.
So yeah, if we're comparing dyno sheets, the peak number is not there. You know, and it's just that, like I said, you get the good with the bad with anything, because if I were to take the blower off, I make more power, but the launch becomes the issue. You know what I mean? You know, the hardest part of any turbo car is building that boost, making it consistent on the launch, to where we, you know, especially with these Hellcats, we have these things dialed in to cut, you know, 1/360 foots easily, no matter what the track is like, just because of the amount of torque that they make. We normally have to pull power out of these things to get them to hook. So when, you know, when you have a turbo car, you're trying to make the power to get them to produce that 60 foot.
Right.
So that's honestly going to be, you know, if you're looking at a con of it, is yeah, it's not going to make the biggest number on a dyno sheet. But you know, I would gladly go up next to, you know, Joe's car at the track, go heads up with him and see what happens, because I literally pull up to the line and I flat-foot it off idle, and it will do the same thing every single time. There will be a point when you have a turbo setup, you will get there, but it does take some time.
Right, we're just dialing in 2 steps, bump box, launch control, versus you just pull up. You're not even stalling up anything, literally dummy proof. Hold the brake, light turn green, smack the gas, hold on. Exactly. So, you know, that comes down to the pros and cons of it. Another one with, you know, the under, you know, mid-mounted turbo setup, naturally there's a little bit of pipes that hang down. Stock ride height, demon springs, anything like that, it's not much to worry about. For those lowered guys, it's similar to as if you had headers on the car. So it's not, you know, unusual for us guys that modify these cars to be aware that, you know, some stuff hangs low on it, but you know, for a majority of those out there, it's not. The tolerance I have on mine is over 3.5 inches in the lowest spot, which actually my rear end hangs a little bit lower than what the turbos do. So them things screaming. God damn, they just screaming crazy. All right, this one of the questions that I personally had, you know, and out of this here, I know that a lot of you also wonder about this question. With the turbos being pretty much facing the ground, how does that play out with debris and things like that on messing the actual turbo up?
Yeah, you just keep air filters on them. So, you know, when you buy the mid-mount kit, it comes with the air filters and everything that you need there, and it keeps the debris away. I've run mid-mount and rear-mount turbo kits on my own cars for years, and you believe it or not, based on how the cars are designed and stuff, water doesn't really splash up and so on and so forth like people would think it's going to suck it up. Yes, if there's 2 feet of water, it doesn't matter where it is, you're going to suck water up, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, for the most part, the turbos are actually tucked up very high, so the turbos aren't, you know, going to see a lot of damage or anything like that. It's more so a couple of the charge pipes are low, but Hellion uses stainless pipes for durability for that. And like I said, I have over 3.5 inches at the lowest point on this car, so that's pretty much the same as it is from factory. So it's not as bad as you think. And then in regards to the turbos, just keep filters on them and you're okay. One of the perks of turbos is filters don't necessarily affect the peak horsepower unless you have really tiny restrictive ones. It's more so the spool. So the only thing, and again, we have a blower there, so we don't have to worry about it too much. It's assisting that. But yeah, you're not gonna, you know, sacrifice power by riding around with filters. And if you really desire it, when you get to the track, just pop them off and you're okay. So it's not a concern by any means.
Perfect. Well, man, for the most part, I think that covers, you know, the majority of the questions that we pretty much seen from customers, and, you know, questions that I had. Tulo, you got anything off the top of your head that you can think of, you know, you'd like to know about the compound boost setup?
I just like the noise and the power. I love it.
True, man. And y'all just stay tuned, because we definitely plan on taking this thing back out to the track. We had headwind, you know, the weather was insanely hot, so we got track rentals planned on that, so y'all will see more of this vehicle and it performing, you know. And I mean, Jay, he got nothing to hide, man. He gonna let y'all know everything of what's going on and what's to it, man. So hope y'all enjoy this video, and 100% if y'all do have any other questions that we did not cover in this, drop that in the comment section right now. That's what we here for. We will respond to it and answer it to the best of our ability. Y'all already know, man. But in the meantime, between time, enjoy some of these roll-by footage that we about to provide for y'all. Let's get it.